slammed a burrito bowl salad before I came here with chipotle sauce and lemon vinaigrette.
Oh.
Was it good?
It was good. It was mostly so that I could stay alert.
I will say
tired.
my energy right now, I'm staring at walls a little bit too long.
That's where I'm located as well.
I'm staring at walls or I'm laughing at things about 30 seconds after they happen.
Taking a minute to load.
I've drinking a lot of tea today, but for the last 2 days of my life, I have just stared at my giant monitor at my desk and written and written and wrote and wrote and wrote.
Ooh, you got a
That
little
is all I've
thesis?
done. No, I don't have a thesis. I just have like many things to do.
All right. Okay. Welcome back to the Gilded Eye podcast, Magnanimous Myra and Well-Balanced Belle.
Wow.
Well balanced.
I got 2 words today.
Yeah. I just saw balanced, but I was like, well-balanced feels a little bit more natural.
I think my psychiatrist would disagree with you on the balance.
Today, I want to talk about the highly decorated, first openly lesbian painter of her time, the Carol Baskins of 1800s France, Rosa Bonheur.
Is this lesbian horse
Bonheur?
painting, lady?
Yeah, man.
Thank fucking God.
I know
Lesbian
nothing about
horses.
this lesbian.
Thank goodness.
She was a prolific painter of animals who challenged gender norms with nearly everything she did throughout her life. And she's a little messy as well, which is
Thank
fun.
God, yeah.
as
Fine.
she should.
Yep.
The book that I'm referencing for this episode is Art is a Tyrant, The Unconventional Life of Rosa Bonheur by Catherine Hewitt. And as always, I think it's best to get to know Rosa. We need to blast back in time.
Of course. Let's blast.
1822, when her mother Sophie gave birth to her. Marie Rosalie Bonheur. Again, okay.
Bonheur.
We're back in France this episode, and we've had a couple lovely listeners reach out saying, hey, you guys clearly need help with pronouncing French words. Next time you do a France episode, you should hit me up and send me a list of stuff, and I'll record myself, and I'll get back to you. And to those people, I say thank you. I was rushing. Did not have time for that. So we're just gonna rock and roll with
With our terrible American
our-
accents.
Yeah,
Let's go.
but know
Google
that
Translate.
know that I'm thinking of you. I
You're
didn't
on our
even Google
noggin.
Translate this episode. So
You
it's
should
gonna
just
be
like
bad.
cut in Google Translate voice.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's over you saying
It's
it.
Siri.
So it's like Rosa Bonheur or whatever it is.
Oh my God. So yeah, blanket apologies as always. We will never beat the American allegations.
Never.
All right. Marie Rosalie Bonheur was her given name, and she was a shockingly strong baby, too strong for her mother to handle, actually, most of the time. A nurse had to get involved with her feeding, and eventually even the nurse resigned to feeding her cow's milk with a spoon.
What?
So she
was just like so brolic, really going ham on that.
on the nips.
She was chewing on nipples, is what we're trying to say here.
Blistered areolas have entered the chat.
straight out the gate. Straight
Teeth
out
marks.
the gate.
Straight out the gate.
So anyways, animals were a part of her life from day one. When she was 2, she was, quote, the perfect height to enjoy the warm, moist sensation of a cow licking her head as it was being milked.
What? So I'm getting like a farm. There's a farm in her life.
Yes, there's
some sort
animals
of rural...
around. They're rural France. They're in a town right now called Bordeaux.
Why
so
do
it's
why am I
outside
familiar
of
with that?
Paris somewhere.
I just
In
can't get
France,
over the
not
moist.
Paris. Got it.
Not Paris right now.
Right now. Oh.
But yeah, so she was not just acquainted with the animals, but she was
getting her hands dirty.
She was getting her head licked.
She's getting her head licked, hands dirty.
I'm disgusted with that.
You guys ever milked a cow?
I don't. I've seen it. I don't have no
have.
interest
I
in it. No.
I have.
Only once.
I didn't like what I was doing.
Her father, Raymond, was an established painter, and he also taught art. So the main income for their family was his art teaching business. People would hire like a private tutor, or they would go to a class of his, and he would, provide them with that education, which paid well for a little while, but the family was still kind of struggling. Especially they had, I think, 4 kids, including Rosa. Wow. She was the oldest. And she didn't really remember any financial hardships growing up. She was more distracted by all of the animals and stuff. But in hindsight, she was like, yeah, that was kind of whack. My parents,
Less than ideal.
Yeah.
Almost a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah, we're getting there.
A little. I mean, so when Raymond set up to paint portraiture, he gave Rosa a setup of her own with her favorite toys. So he was
Cute.
like, she did have art education like from the get-go because her father was very talented. He painted this portrait of Rosa with a black hat and a feather, and also this one where she's holding one of her favorite toy soldiers that she often painted.
Cute. I wish my dad could paint.
As Rosa grew up, she displayed none of the typical girlish traits expected of someone her age.
Gay.
The only time she was remotely sensitive was when she was drawing. Anywhere else, she was stout, brash, and as her grandfather put it, a boy in petticoats.
Gay. My mama used to tell me I'd get married in a suit.
How old were you?
5 to 15.
Wow. Clocked.
Clocked.
Maybe it was the bob. Boys' clothes that I begged for.
There were maybe some signs.
Maybe a couple.
Bordeaux, the town she grew up in, wasn't full of wealthy people ready to shell out for art classes, but Paris was. So Rosa's father left her at the age of 6 to find success in the big city.
What?
He was
Bye, kids.
For a while, but he went there to like try and like set up roots for the family to come join him at a later time.
Okay.
So I think it was. I don't think that he enjoyed having a family very much, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But he eventually did find a place, and the family moved to Paris to join him.
When?
When? Question mark.
W.
Okay, Raymond.
Raymond.
On thin ice.
On the well,
Asshole scale.
He's got a plot line in this one.
Interesting.
Their new home in Paris was incredible. Situated in Rue Saint-Antoine, between idyllic houses and shops, it was a bustling place full of commerce and trade. The Louvre was literally within walking distance from their new house. So this sounds amazing, but the reality of city life was not best suited for Rosa. The only animal around was a wooden boar sculpture parked outside of the local butcher shop.
No.
And it was impossible to escape other people. And she preferred bread in the countryside. So she hated
She was like,
people.
what's going on?
She was kind of like, I'm antisocial and I prefer
Where's the horses?
bread.
I'm a horse girl.
I'm a horse girl for
I want
real.
bread.
Cows nowhere to be found.
I miss my
Who's
gruel.
gonna lick my head in the pastures?
So gross. That disturbs me on a whole level. I can't explain.
That was like one of the first things written about her. I was like, wow, okay. So their apartment sat right above a local schoolhouse, and her 2 younger brothers were immediately enrolled. The schoolmaster and her father were enlightened enough to consider educating Rosalie as a radically cool new idea, so she was actually enrolled as well, alongside her brothers.
I'm like, wow, what if we
They were
a
like,
little
should we
crazy
be
right now?
Should we be bad?
Should
we
be bad?
educate a young woman?
I mean, she's kind of a boy anyways, right, guys?
I think that's true because she appointed herself the leader of the group of boys in the school and joined in on all of their fistfights and shenanigans. She was kind of like, I'm the only girl, but that means that I'm head boy.
That was literally me in middle school. I had a friend group of all guys.
This was just written about you.
Belle, is this you? Meanwhile, her father Raymond was joining a cult.
Right, okay.
God.
Some background on Raymond real quick. He was a stunner.
Really?
That's him.
Yeah.
This was the book described during the time. By the way, we have visual slides on youtube.com/GildedEyePodcast.
Myra, he looks like he's seen a specter. Oh, I said Myra. I meant Mia, but you know what I mean. He looks spooked.
He's
he's so pale, it's concerning.
somebody needs to get him the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pomade urgently.
People described
Get him on Queer Eye.
Please.
Get Jonathan Van Ness in here.
the curls are lush. I saw
The
this
curls
and
are luscious.
This
I
was one of the
guess.
first photos in the book, and I thought it was her. Like I thought that was Rosa, but no, that's her. That's her dad. A stunner.
Did he paint that of himself?
I think so.
Self-portrait?
I believe so. I'm not positive.
He's not giving stunner.
Well, during the time, people described him as so handsome and beautiful with his blonde curls that most people believed he was the angel Gabriel walking the earth.
Most people did. Most people were like, yeah,
saw him and they were
right.
like, "Oh my god,
This book is silly.
This is
I like
crazy.
it.
France will never recover." To put it simply, he was pretty and stupid, a real himbo, if you will, I believe.
Right, okay,
he was
19th
very
century himbo.
susceptible to propaganda, maybe, and cultish groups, such as Saint Simonianism, which he went whole hog into.
Not whole hog.
Ray, come on.
Saint Simonianism was a political group in support of state representation in the French economy, to put it very simply.
I mean, that makes sense.
It does make
far.
sense.
Okay.
It does make, it's like
remaining skeptical.
the frog in boiling water thing, right? Where like the initial idea is totally
You're like,
cool.
oh, this is warm.
And then you start wearing matching outfits and
Right.
growing beards and
That's us in a few years. I
cutting
think.
off your family and all that good stuff. So while most of its members were in casual attendance, Raymond was chosen as one of the 40 men to remain by the leader's side in perpetuity, which he was like, hell yeah. My family is kind of boring anyway. I want to hang out with my bros.
He was like, this is definitely because I have such angelic features and curly blonde hair.
These chosen men had to grow beards, take a vow of celibacy, and do chores together.
What if they couldn't grow a beard?
That's what I was just thinking.
Then they're not one of the 40.
booted. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
out of the club. Sorry.
Wait, you say they took showers together? Is that what you said?
No, you said that.
Wait, what did you say? Grow beards
And do
what?
chores
Oh,
together.
chores.
Not showers.
It's like, wait, how did I not
That
hear that?
was your imagination.
was.
Raymond was so excited about this new position of his that he actually designed their matching costumes. that
my
they all
God.
wore.
he's hyped.
Yeah, and he designed the costumes with two ties for the waistcoats in the back where
Snatched.
they
was gonna
needed assistance from another brother to put it on completely.
Oh.
So
Come
he
on,
did that
girl.
on purpose.
Come on, look at him. He has a fucking corset on. All of them do.
Where is Raymond's waist? The search for
Snatch,
Raymond's
snatch.
waist.
His family still got to visit him once a week for a shared meal, but he was not very keen on returning to them. But eventually, due to the group's staggering debt that they could not repay, the group disbanded for the most part, and Raymond was forced to re-enter married society. Yes. He
My
was like,
family.
my bros, my matching outfits,
Me,
I bet he kept the
Chad,
corset.
Brad, Dylan, other Raymond,
Tyler.
Kyle. We can't do chores together anymore.
Still, in front of his wife and all of society, Raymond advocated the ideals of the group, specifically their whole thing about celibacy,
What?
which
Wait,
was really
You didn't tell
I
us
did.
that.
I said they had to take a vow of celibacy,
I heard beards, corsets,
showers.
and Okay.
I would love to know. Raymond needs a psych eval. I'm so like, he was like, what do you mean my broke club? Guys, wait, I can't fornicate with my wife?
No, he didn't want to because they
refused?
re-entered society and like it wasn't even private. He was like, "Hey, all of society, I'm
Letting
still not
everybody know.
gonna
Bang
pork
my
my
wife.
wife.
Pork is good.
I'm still not gonna be porking my wife." And I
respect
want
to my
everybody
brothers,
to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it is personal. This made his wife Sophie cry.
Oh, Sophie.
And Rosa has like an early memory of marriage in this way. Like this is kind of what she, she was like, maybe marriage is my dad's in a cult and my mom's crying all the time. And maybe that's not for me.
Fair enough.
Her exhausted and embarrassed mother died after she took ill when Rosalie was 11.
Oh my God.
So she's stuck with Ray, is what I'm hearing.
She's stuck.
That's
stuck.
dreadful.
Sorry, I was
dreadful.
laughing. I did that because...
No, we're not laughing at her dying. We're laughing at how ironic this weirdo
Yeah, I
is. and
know.
then
It's like
she's
an
dead.
It's an insane situation. Her father joined another cult afterwards.
No.
Pretty quickly, because he was kind of like, fatherhood? Maybe not for
no.
me. He passed off both daughters. He passed off one daughter to like a family far away. The brothers were in school, and Rosa he tried to put in a girls' school, but it
Yeah,
wasn't a
right.
good fit. Rosa was much more interested in sketching than anything else. Her father's cult activities influenced her life, definitely. He joined the Order of the Temple, another restrictive sect of magical Christianity that is far too complicated to get into right now in its entirety. Also, there's like a lot of branches of it, and so I don't want to say the wrong one. Rosa was once taken to a Templar ceremony where she donned white robes and stood under a canopy of swords, each held by a knight in costume.
Caravaggio.
Caravaggio, where, they all were like, we are knights of the solar temple and stuff. Like, that was their whole thing.
I wonder what she was thinking about in this. Well, okay.
Being a lesbian.
Well, she was like young, so she kind of said, oh, I'm a knight now.
Oh.
And she thought it was super rad, and she convinced herself she was a knight.
Hell yeah.
And then after this, she orchestrated a fake cavalry charge at school with wooden swords and ruined her teacher's favorite flower bed.
Aww.
And after this, she got expelled.
Oh.
So the knight thing kind of...
Well...
Was she living at school?
I don't think she was... I actually don't know. I think she was at a boarding school at this time.
When your dad picks you up in a horse-drawn carriage to go to the Templar ceremony.
This is like if your dad was super into cosplay and took you, like...
Yes.
That's what it's giving. Mm-hmm. It's like Raymond was a hardcore, like, I'm a knight Ren Fair dude. Mm-hmm. And that was her childhood.
I'm going to do that to my
Super
child,
fun.
too.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I'm going to do that to I'm going to bring my child to Ren Fair.
I mean, that's fun.
That is, not the cult part, but the dress up. Yeah.
I mean, we can make a cult if you want. If you want.
Can we put on each other's corsets?
Duh. We already do that.
That's true.
Before the pod, we cinch.
Before the pod, we cinch hard.
Finally, her father had to admit that art was the only way forward for Rosa and began homeschooling her. So he's still an artist. Like, throughout all this time, he's still... Well, I don't think he's actively teaching at this point when he's super into the cult thing.
Right.
But he still has that knowledge. I think after his OG cult disbanded, he got a little bit more into it. He started teaching Rosa lessons at home. Like, they would wake up early. He would set up a thing for her. He'd say, do this, this, and this by the time I get home. And she would just diligently paint all day. She loved it. It was the only thing that kept her attention.
Wow.
She loved her lessons and her skill improved dramatically. She was discouraged the first time she visited the Louvre. Eons of prestigious male artists looking down at her in the hallway and within the artworks decorating the walls.
Yeah.
After this experience, she realized she could, quote, avenge herself with her brush and pencil and create devastating caricatures of anyone who dared cross her or question her right to be there.
Oh.
Fair enough, sweetheart.
So she became a copyist at the Louvre, which is like a common thing. So artists would show up with their materials and set up shop in front of one painting and study it and create a master copy to learn about color theory and application and like all that good stuff. So that's what she did. She arrived early in the morning and worked diligently all day, breaking for lunch. It's
Can you
pretty
imagine?
Idyllic.
Can you fucking
I'd
imagine?
love to do it. She's like 16, posted
Just
up.
at the Louvre.
Casual.
Cash. I picked this one today.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't even think of
Breaking
someone.
for lunch. Oh my
Breaking
God.
for lunch.
I'm just going to observe the statue of David today. Nothing
And
big.
she was good. Like, she was good. It wasn't... I think that she was able to go so far in her career just because she had the work ethic and the talent. So even though she was a young girl doing this, people would be like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. And then they'd look at what she was doing and they'd
They're
say,
like, oh shit.
Wow.
okay, so she's the real deal.
Good for her. That is so cool.
I loved that quote about the avenging herself with the brush. It's so
That
good.
was so good.
It's very Frida.
Goosies.
Very freedom. Rosa began taking trips to the countryside to study animals in their habitats, particularly farm animals like goats, sheep, cows, and dogs. She was convinced that she could see an animal's soul. She was around 19 when she started bringing home animals to stay outside of their new house at Rue Rumford. Rabbits, fowl, ducks, plants, squirrels, rats, butterflies, and more adorned their little nature reserve at their house. So she started
love that.
collecting little home
The only way
things.
to live in a city, truly.
I know. She had outside and indoor animals, and the house was soon kind of overrun with them, which does give me a lot of anxiety because it smells like a barn. The animals were like assimilated into the family life to an extent where it's like,
all right.
quickly gets out of control a little.
Is it just her and her dad right now?
It's her and her dad, and she has eventually her siblings all kind of came home one after the other and decided, hey, we want to be artists too. Rosa can do it, so why can't we? The house became a sort of working studio.
That's so
where
cool.
like all of her and her siblings were all learning and doing sculpture and painting and observation. It sounds
overrun
so cool.
with animals at the same time.
It's literally like Snow White, but a family unit in France learning how to paint together.
And he
That
didn't want to be a
sounds phenomenal.
dad. But like,
Yeah.
I think once he figured it out, it sounds pretty nice.
I think that he figured it out in his own little way. Once he saw his family as more pupils, perhaps, than like children.
He had to
kind of
remove himself from the fact that they're his offspring and he's responsible for them. And he's like, maybe if I just
Well,
let them
also it's like
paint.
like setting them up for success in the art world also, sets them up for monetary success.
Truly.
Like he could have looked at it for a lot of different reasons. Rosa even began to frequent a nearby slaughterhouse because she felt like in order to best understand the animals she was painting, she needed to learn about them inside and out.
Oh.
Which was crazy for like
Okay.
the slaughterhouse to like have this young woman show up and be like, hey guys,
Question.
yes.
Is my good bitch a vegetarian?
Oh no.
Interesting.
We'll go into it a little.
Interesting.
Yeah. Whenever there was an animal that she had that was in pain or like needed to go, she would be the one to
Right.
end the life. And she also, we'll talk about it a little bit during wartime. She did eat some of the animals because there was like starvation going on.
Oh my God.
But also, this is like 1800s.
Right,
I don't think
yeah.
that people had the same.
I know, she's
I don't-
crazy.
I don't think there was
mindset.
any vegetarians
I doubt
in
it.
that time frame.
I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't have seitan
They couldn't go
in
get
France.
some soy riso
at Trader Joe's.
at Trader Joe's.
Yeah, I'm sure like if she was probably existed now, maybe it'd be different. But she also grew up, she survived like a cholera epidemic when she was younger.
Wow.
She survived the war that we'll talk about a little later. So her life was kind of grueling. So I think that she respected and loved animals more than anything, but she
Right.
also was like, they're animals and
And I need
I need to
sustenance.
live, and
Yeah.
also I can still love them while
like tending to them. And
yeah.
Girls gotta eat.
In 1848, her work Red Oxen of Cantal won a first-class prize at the Salon, which is a huge
Insane.
deal.
That's
Really?
like the biggest thing you can do.
It's the biggest thing you can do, like especially for a woman. I think that was
Unheard of, yeah.
that was like the limit.
Wow.
Her inseparable best friend, Nathalie Micus, was even more excited for her than Rosa was about winning this prize. She was a year younger than Rosa and completely taken by her talent. Nathalie had come to the house when she was ill years before, when her parents believed that she was going to die.
Whoa.
They commissioned Rosa's father to paint her portrait before she died. But the longer Nathalie spent in Rosa's presence, the healthier she seemed to get. And she lived, and the two became inseparable after that. When Rosa took a work trip away from Nathalie, she wrote, "If you were here with me, I would be mad with joy. I can only half enjoy a pleasure without you. The thing is, you see, you understand me, my dear Nathalie." She referred to her as my Nathalie, and everything was an adventure with her and a chore without her.
That's so cute.
Yes. Which
I
is
love
crazy
them.
because, like, in the book, it made it seem like when Rosa was younger in Paris, she was walking around with the other kids and she saw this strange girl, like, with a green veil. And she'd be like, that's a weird person. Weird, sickly person. And it turned out to be Nathalie the whole time. Like, this
Whoa.
kind of haunting the narrative before they meet type
Wow.
of situation. Which
They
was
were life
crazy.
partners, no?
They were life partners, yeah.
That's so cute.
I think my favorite thing about them is that people, like, they didn't talk about it, but it was known.
It's obvious.
It was known that they were gay, even in their circles, and it was accepted.
Her being a woman was cause enough for attention, but she was a woman who wore pants.
She only ever wore insane.
Beatboxes.
No, it's more like a
Preposterous, yeah.
Preposterous.
She wore men's clothes. Like,
She did.
Wow.
Yeah, always.
She said
Butch. Yeah. But also, like, during this time, you actually had to apply for a permit to wear pants as a woman.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god!
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah,
Well,
Here you go.
it was
Have
only
it, girl.
granted to women who had physical abnormalities or other nonconformist tendencies that would hinder their ability to wear skirts. Rosa and Nathalie were granted permits for a vacation they took to the Pyrenees together, where Nathalie recovered from a bout of illness, and they went on romantic trips all the time. So I think that was the origin of where they got the permits from.
And they
To
just
get the pants,
kept
and they
them.
were like, we're wearing pants,
They were
actually.
like, you know what? Rosa was kind of like, this is me, dog. Rosa and Nathalie shared a room and nursed each other's wounds. People began to speculate about their relationship. At this point in time, lesbianism was socially taboo but legally plausible. So it wasn't
It was?
outwardly... Well, that in the sense that it wasn't outwardly, like,
Nobody talked about it, really?
persecuted
Yeah.
as, like, male homosexual relationships were.
Whoa.
They were kind of like, well, no harm, no foul. It's just ladies.
Wow.
You know, it was that kind of.
That never really goes away, huh?
I guess not.
It's not cheating if it's with a chick.
It meant that there was no like outward call to penalize private acts between women. So all eyes were on Rosa for the Salon of 1849. She only displayed one painting, Plowing in the Nivernais. Her entire reputation was staked on this one thing,
Wow.
and it paid off.
Right.
Totally.
It's that one right there.
Yes,
It's
this is the
fucking
one
beautiful.
that won. Yeah. So it was meant to remind war-weary people of an idyllic, peaceful refuge.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Of kind of like everyday life existence on the countryside. It reminds me a little bit of the Russian
I was just thinking that.
realism paintings
Yeah.
that you were talking about.
I was gonna say that as well. I remember reading that her work was so popular and also so like government sanctioned because these idyllic pastures kind of provided a sense of French nationalism in the face of the 30 friggin' revolutions that
Just
they
a
had.
couple.
Yeah, totally.
Back to back to back.
So her painting, The Horse Fair,
Oh, don't even get me started
Is
on this
probably-
painting.
I've actually seen this one, I think.
I'm making it full screen. This one is probably her most famous artwork, but it didn't win any awards at the time that it was debuted because she was a woman, so she couldn't receive like a cross from the king or anything like that, like a lot of male artists would.
Right.
Wow.
And also there was some kind of rule that if you won like the highest medal during the salon last year, you weren't eligible the next year.
okay.
So she
I
couldn't even
guess.
get that one. People did say, they were like, what do you mean we can't give this painting any awards? Like, this is clearly the standout
This is the
painting.
best
Yeah.
one.
There was some awkward feelings where people were like, I mean, I guess she's a woman, but we can't not give
Can't
her
not
flowers.
acknowledge. Yeah, come on.
it's a-
She needs the flowers.
she needs the flowers.
Look at the clouds. That's a cloud.
The subtlety is crazy.
Oh my God. The
This
white horse is
a
unbelievable.
detail. Look at the face, the eye. It's
Wow.
nuts.
I have
It's so
nothing to
nuts.
say other than
It's
holy shit.
insane.
There was a bidding war for the painting between the administration and a wealthy man named Ernest Gambart. It sold to Ernest for 40,000 francs,
Bronx.
and eventually ended up in the hands of Cornelius Vanderbilt,
No
Whoa.
way.
who donated it to the Met years later.
Wow.
So when I was an undergrad, I read an essay titled Disagreeably Hidden, Construction and Constriction of the Lesbian Body in Rosa Bonheur. How do you say her name?
We don't know.
Don't ask me.
Keep that in there.
Rosa Bonheur's Horse Fair. So this piece. And that essay contended that this confronts the constrictions of cis-heteronormative gender binary in the 19th century French Republic. Among the chaos of this composition with the spontaneously galloping horses and the desperate men trying to wrangle them is a hidden self-portrait of the artist herself.
What?
The one figure in the middle of the composition in blue making eye contact with the viewer.
Don't
That's
they?
awesome. I did not know that.
I can't.
Her.
Meeting the viewer's eye with a sly smirk. This essay articulates that this self-portrait, and by extension her equestrian portraiture as a whole, drew parallels between the plights of animals and the societal restraints on women, LGBT people, and anybody who diverged from normalcy of the cishet agenda of the 19th century and beyond.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And her horse is
It's
just
so
chilling.
cool.
She's just chilling.
She's the only like pillar in a sea of chaos.
Absolutely,
That is
yeah.
so cool.
And he also talks about, like, you know, all the men and the horse wranglers trying to contain this chaos, but it's not possible to be
You can't contain a
contained. You
horse.
can't-
yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
That is really
I
cool.
love
I'm
that.
so glad.
So Rosa traveled a lot to study different animals and create work in different areas. She met John Ruskin in Wexham, Scotland, who I don't know if you remember, Myra, but he made an appearance in our Elizabeth Siddall episode a long time
Remember
ago.
that fella? Yeah.
That guy, he was an art critic, big.
I
in
remember. I
was-
listened.
He was in the circle of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, specifically friends with John Everett Millay, who got to know Rosa as well.
Wow.
So she got to meet a bunch of crazy prominent people over there. She actually had a heated debate with Ruskin over color choice and painting materials one night, and they kind of got into it a little bit. But they both parted ways and were like, we argued, it was fucking awesome. Like, I love that guy.
It was a
love her
healthy
down.
debate, you know what I mean?
Like, they both had a good time, and everybody
Right.
who met Rosa was kind of like titillated.
Thank you, Rosa.
And yeah, at this time, Rosa could be developing what some might call an animal hoarding addiction.
Oh, God. Still?
Love.
Her whole
It's ridiculous.
life. In her backyard were so many animals. She would gain animals, lose them, get more. You know, the number kind of fluctuated over the years. But
Was she still in Paris?
she was around Paris. I forgot
So
the
she
actual
had
town.
An actual yard, then.
She moved to a
Okay.
better house with more space.
Okay.
Yes.
Still not cool, but, you know.
She also eventually had staff that would help take care of the animals when she got wealthier. But anyway, a horse, an otter, sheep, goats, a monkey, a donkey, 2 dogs, eventually lions and tigers.
And bears, oh my.
What?
Jesus Christ.
We're going to talk about that. I'm going to put a pin in it. And she had so many, and she was becoming so well known at the time. Other artists were renting out the animals to study.
Can I borrow your tiger?
Yeah, can I borrow this rare bird that you've
This
acquired?
is very like Pablo Escobar.
It's very Tiger King, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very interested in your Mufasa.
The Mufasa. It was a real spectacle. The young Prince Louis Napoleon, only 8 years old, was excited by Rosa's menagerie and became a frequent visitor.
No way.
Yes. He was also intrigued by Rosa's reputation, a woman who wore man's clothes, and
like, whoa.
was disappointed when she had wore skirts for his arrival. Because he's like a
No.
bigwig person. And he told her, he said, hey,
If you want to wear pants, wear pants.
he was kind of like, hey, I thought that you were a weird man dressing lady. And she said, okay, bet. And then the next time she was like just herself. And he
Skinny
was
jeans.
so excited. Rosa had gotten to know the prince's mother, Empress Eugenie.
I don't know.
It's Eugene with an IE at the end.
Eugenie.
Eugene.
Eugene. Well, now we're going Italian.
She was a big fan and wanted custom work. She was so pleased and impressed by Rosa that when her husband was away in Algeria, she used her powers as Empress Regent to award Rosa a Golden Cross.
Let's go.
Yes.
She was the first woman ever to have been made Chevalier de la Légion d'Honneur for the Arts,
Sure.
a prestigious title created by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1802.
She was like, you know what, girl?
My husband's away. I'm going to change everything. Women get this award too. As she pinned the cross to Rosa's bodice, the Empress said, genius has no sex.
Wow.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
That is so good.
So good.
She said, I don't fucking care. She said, I love this woman. I'm a woman. Let's do it. She said, yes.
What if she was trying to slide?
What if she's trying to slam?
She's like, I saw you on Tinder last night.
Natalie's in the corner, crushing. I don't know.
Crushing a painting.
Yeah.
She's pissed.
Rosa was granted many, many awards with many, many long, winding titles that I did not want to write all of them down because I would have to pronounce all of them. But she
Right,
was
right.
super decorated. She
Yeah.
had lots of awards, and most of them were like groundbreaking, first
Okay.
woman to win these awards.
I was just going to ask that. Do you think like the cross one kind of opens the door?
Yes.
People are like, oh, finally.
After this, she was like, it was kind of like every other day she was getting a phone call like, oh, I guess in Spain they gave me this weird obscure award. Like people, she was getting around. Her fame skyrocketed, and they even made a collectible doll of her.
What the heck? She's like, it's a dumb reference. Never mind. She's like Hercules in the Disney movie.
Oh my God, you're right. Zero to hero.
Zero to
for
hero.
real. Yeah, so not everything was super rad though. At this time, In 1870, the France-Prussian War had started, and Rosa was plagued with anxiety. The war led to a shortage of food, not only for humans, but for Rosa's animals as well. She doesn't just have to feed herself.
She has to feed her zoo.
Her zoo, yeah. So she did have a hunter's mentality. She did not want her animals to suffer, and she wasn't afraid to repurpose the meat to keep her and her family going. She wrote once to her sister that she was sending her a haunch of deer who she sketched only 3 days before.
Wow.
So she was kind of desensitized after a while to that kind of stuff. This might be the reason why around this time, woodland creatures like squirrels and birds began taking the spotlight in Rosa's work over the agricultural animals.
Oh. She needed a snack.
She needed a little snack.
She really did.
The Wounded Eagle of 1870 displays a screeching bird of prey trying desperately to steady its plummet. Rosa was pondering the inevitability of death and mortality present even in the most powerful beings. Her relationship with Nathalie was also a little bit tumultuous at this time.
No.
Nathalie was increasingly jealous of Rosa's few female friendships, specifically one with the opera singer Caroline Carvalho.
Opera singers were whores in this day, so I'm not surprised.
Get her.
I would be too. They're like the pop stars.
Yeah, truly.
I'd be whoring. You kidding
Do the
me?
same, yeah.
Rosa, who was famously antisocial, jumped at the chance to hang out with Caroline. Rosa also kept her visits with the opera singer a secret because if she knew, quote, Nathalie would very likely go into a state of rage that might be dangerous to her.
What?
I am with Nathalie.
I would be
I'm with Nathalie.
Well, because she's being suspicious.
She's being
Yeah,
sus.
you made it that way.
You made it weird,
Rosa.
Rosie.
And also, there was a period of time where she went to go visit Caroline for like a week and lied to Nathalie about it and was like, I'm with our friends, I'm with our besties. And
Jail. Why would
She
you not
was
want to bring your partner anyways?
Messy.
What is her prob? Ugh. I'm
Eventually-
disappointed now. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, so they had some tumultuous moments.
It's a given.
They separated for a while, quote unquote, which meant to them they just ate their meals apart. Like meals were very tumultuous. Yeah.
Lesbians.
We're broken up, but we just don't have breakfast together.
Wait, what is that called? Like kitchen table polyamory.
Oh my god. Yes. So that was kind of the extent of their arguing, but in the face of the war, the two put their arguments into perspective and they like went back to each other pretty fast. So they kind of
They were like, that was dumb, you
yeah,
guys.
I mean, Rosa had her opera era and then they kind
I'm
of
mad about it.
Me too. And you know what? And
I
you
hope
know-
she apologized.
I'd kill a bitch.
I hope so.
I'm so serious.
Nathalie was like her support. Like Nathalie was running the whole house. She was taking
Yeah.
care of all the fucking animals.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be
Dude.
pissed. You left me here with your horses.
The goats.
The goats.
The ducks.
The ducks. The chickens.
The monkey.
You're kidding.
The
go-
rabbits.
While
To
you go
I'd
munching
kill Zoe.
box.
Munching box.
If Zoe went off munching box, or
Death penalty.
and I'd kill myself. someone would get hurt. Just kidding.
JK.
Love you, Zoe.
Okay, anyway. Rosa was a sentimental but real, down-to-earth woman. I already talked about the cholera epidemic where she was
Right.
seeing bodies in carts like every day as she was walking. Like it was that kind of
That's crazy.
old-timey France.
Yeah,
bro. Like
yeah.
war, bodies everywhere.
Poop in the water.
Starvation. After the war with Prussia, she was about 50, and she felt a little bit powerless in her aging body, the aches and pains that accompanied her and hindered her work. Perhaps it was this, along with the recent war, that drew her to paint lions and tigers, regal beings, prideful and commanding. Rosa became obsessed with big cats.
Fair enough. I mean,
yeah.
They are so cool.
They're really cool. And for
really
her,
cool.
like, she's the biggest animal fan of all time. She loves them.
and this is like the most unobtainable animal to be painting. She's like, let me paint it.
Yeah. Also, she's kind of older. She's having
Yeah.
perhaps a midlife crisis. She's like, who am I? I am
know,
a powerful cat lady.
I think that, to fix a midlife crisis, you should be near imminent danger and capture it.
Yes.
I agree.
My dad just got a bunch of tattoos. I don't think he did it right. We should have a lion at home.
You should have a lion.
Rosa frequented the property of an ex-circus entrepreneur who let lions roam freely around his home.
Whoa.
Her and Nathalie became close with the cats and even pet them. So they were like up in their space.
Can you imagine?
Could not be me.
These were lions that were raised in captivity.
Yeah.
So they know people.
So they were comfortable around people. Still shouldn't do that.
Yeah, no. Do
But-
you think they're soft?
Oh,
Or do you think they're like
I feel like
wiry?
they might be wiry.
well, manes look soft.
Manes,
do.
I feel like their manes might be wiry and their pelt might be more supple.
I gotta
We
call
should get
Joe
one.
Exotic. Yeah, we should
Gotta
get
get
one.
them on the line. Yeah,
Tigers look like they're soft,
Tigers
do look soft.
like fluffy.
One particular lioness took a liking to Rosa and even stood protectively over her painting materials when Rosa stepped away.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Rosa actually obtained a tiger, which was a shock and concern to all of her neighbors. She didn't plan on keeping the cat, but wanted to rent it in order to study it with the same vigor as all of her other animals. So her mindset was, I want to get to know this thing. I have to be around it. It has to be in my space. I have to study. Natalie's probably in the corner like, dear God. Yeah.
Like,
I'd rather you go fuck that opera singer again.
I'm gonna tap out. You're gonna have Caroline come do a shift.
Do a shit.
I'm gonna for the tiger.
I'm gonna head out.
When will Caroline start pulling her weight?
No, truly
Taking care of
tending
all of
to
the
these
zoo
wild
animals.
beasts.
Meanwhile, the tiger's trying to get at her ducks and horses.
Crazy. She did have a staff at this point. So, but taking care of a tiger was even a lot for the staff because the staff was taking care of all of the other animals. Like, there's still not a ton
Imagine
of food.
you like sign up to tend to ducks and horses, and this crazy old bitch walks on site with a tiger. It's like, hey, listen.
I mean, you signed up to take care of the animals.
This is an animal.
I don't know what to tell
my
you.
animal.
I don't know what to tell you.
After the tiger left, she eventually brought 2 lions to stay with them.
Oh, okay.
A lot of her animals were being sourced from Ernest Gambart, the guy who bought the first horse painting that she made. He was like well connected. I don't really know why, but he sourced a bunch of these rare cats.
Oh, you need a tiger? I know a
Gotcha.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, she did give up the lions when she realized this is a bit much for me. I can't take care of them in the best way, so she gave them away. But she still accepted 2 baby lion cubs when they were gifted to her in a basket from somebody.
Okay.
And those 2 she did try to keep, but they did end up dying. Like at younger
died?
ages. One of them died about a year after, and then the other one lived a little bit longer and eventually did die of some kind of paralysis. I'm not sure.
Oh my god.
It's not a natural environment for them to be in, I'd imagine.
I think it was probably something about that. And she was devastated. Like, she loved the animals so much, but it just like probably wasn't
the best, yeah.
Yeah. Something personal that Rosa was going through at the time were fits of heavy vaginal bleeding, abnormal for a typical period. I know it's random, okay? I know. The hemorrhaging was incapacitating. She considered a hysterectomy, which was a very controversial procedure, and avoided it as long as she could. The hysterectomy proved to be the only option, so she had the procedure and recovered from it.
Nice.
It was a lot for her, though, because her entire life she'd strayed from, like, the typical idea of being a woman, and, like, that identity was a lot for her to deal with her whole life, and this procedure marked the end of, quote-unquote, like, womanhood for her.
Right.
So it was a lot of identity stuff that this brought up.
Sometimes people go through that, though. Like, when they're about to hit menopause, their system just kind of goes, wah!
Yeah.
Yes!
I don't understand. Yeah, it was kind of a lot. So she was going through a lot personally regarding this, and she needed a support system, and Nathalie was there the whole time. And then Nathalie got sick after that. In 1889, Nathalie did die of stomach cancer,
Oh my god.
which was really, really, really hard on Rosa.
That's crazy, dude. This is
so
taking such a
sad.
crazy turn.
I know. It's
Like, I thought the
nuts.
tigers were
the
wild.
big cats. We went from tigers to hysterectomy
To death.
It's a lot. It's a big story. It's a big story.
And
for
they were
Rosa.
together for so long.
They were like life partners.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
so
From I
sad.
believe they met each other in their. Well, they apparently Rosa had seen Nathalie all around town, like before they actually met. But I think that they became partners when they were like 23, and then
That's crazy.
yeah, it's so insane. Quote, Rosa was inconsolable and depressed. She went through a bit of a crisis after Nathalie died. She sold the beautiful villa she and her soulmate had shared together, which had made Nathalie happy for many, many years. At Nathalie's funeral, she asked over and over again, what will become of me? And she retreated into isolation for a long, long while.
That's so sad.
I know. I'm smiling because I smile at awkward things.
Yeah, me
but
too.
it's like so upsetting. She was really upset.
I'd probably just go do some meth.
Well,
At that point-
I mean, she did have a little like bounce back wacky crisis when she had this really big sudden infatuation with American culture and indigenous practices. She had like a Buffalo Bill era. It was very interesting.
Right?
So weird.
She like saw a flyer for Buffalo Bill and she was like, this is me now.
She said, ew.
She said, my wife is gone. I need something.
I'm into Buffalo Bill.
I'm into Buffalo Bill. Yeah. She talked a lot about this with her new friend, Anna Klumpke. Klumpke?
I'm sorry.
Clump.
Anna Klump.
Who was a portrait painter from San Francisco. Anna was about 30 years younger than Rosa.
Okay.
But the two had a strong relationship.
Okay.
Anna painted Rosa's portrait and eventually moved in. Rosa said it was Anna who restored her passion for life and that Anna was the one who revived her after Nathalie's passing.
All right. I don't feel good about it, but I'm happy she's okay.
This is Anna, and this is the portrait of Rosa that Anna made.
It's really good.
It is a great portrait. She's old.
Yeah,
She was
but
like in her
think
50s. This woman was like 20-something.
Think about Sarah Paulson and the woman she's dating. Was
75. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying Rosa really was like, I'm going to be a man of my generation and date a woman 30 years
In
younger.
male-dominated fields.
Yeah.
She said, I'm going to do that.
She said, you know what?
You know what? Hell yeah.
I'm still not happy. I was reading it. I was like, come on.
Come on. But
She had a crisis.
you're right about Sarah Paulson, though.
That's true.
I'll give them a pass because I love that woman.
So yeah, eventually Anna kind of woke her up again. She's painting again. She's a little bit more inspired. In her 70s, Rosa was the first woman ever to be promoted to the rank of Officier de la Légion d'Honneur. Thank you. It wasn't just an honor for Rosa, but a shift in culture and perspective throughout the country, which was a big deal. When Rosa was 75, Tsar Nicholas II and his wife Alexandra, the egg people.
No way!
Guys.
Full circ. Oh my goodness.
The egg people visited Paris and greeted Rosa. She was embarrassed to be the only officer there wearing a dress. But apparently Alexandra was a huge fan. And, they love art. They love all the opulent stuff. So they kind of...
They were like, wow, you guys should see our eggs.
They were like, dude, you don't even know.
Imagine if she did like little
did an egg.
portraits for an egg.
Crazy.
That would be so full circle.
Oh my God, I wonder.
She deserved it. She should have been
truly
able to.
did, yeah. She not only did she meet the Russian people, the big Russian people.
The big Russians.
The big Russians.
The big rush.
She had connections with a lot of other major royal people. Queen Victoria's daughter, Princess Beatrice, visited Rosa for a time to study photography under her.
Oh, wow.
So she was like high profile.
This woman is so cool.
I know.
Every woman that we talk about is like my hero, and every man we talk about, I'm like, meh.
Is Caravaggio.
Except for Norman Rockwell. He's
Yeah,
Rockwell
he's a
was
sweet.
lovely.
and Basquiat.
Basquiat.
Yeah.
Was lovely as well.
And,
Yeah, he's lovely.
Oh, the guy who steals things.
No,
I'm just kidding.
He was horrible. Stefan Breitbart.
Yeah.
Okay, so despite her outliving most everyone she ever loved, she told her friend she still had energy to paint. That, she said, only died with your last breath.
Wow. That's so
Goosies.
Frida as well.
So
I
Frida.
know. One morning on May 25th, 1899, Rosa fell ill with the flu. Rosa Bonheur died in Anna's arms on May 25th, 1899. I will end with how this book began, with a quote from Rosa herself. Art is an absorbent, a tyrant. It demands heart, brain, soul, body, the entireness of its votary. Nothing less will win its highest favor. I wed art. It is my husband, my world, my life dream, the air I breathe. I know nothing else, feel nothing else, think nothing else.
Oh,
Wow.
The end.
That was really good.
felt that in my bones.
Yeah,
that was phenomenal.
cool.
R.I.P.
such
Anna
a-
Klumpke.
Goodbye, Anna Klump.
Was that her quote? No. Oh.
Wait,
just feel like-
Rosa's? No, that was Rosa's quote.
It was Rose's quote, yeah. I just feel like she speaks so... Like, that was just very matter of fact. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't
She
feel...
was like, yeah, that's my...
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of metaphor. Like, there was, but it didn't feel like metaphor. It just felt like she was like, no, like, yes, this is...
I think that's why people accredit her with being the first openly lesbian person, because she just was so matter of fact that she was like, yeah, that's my woman, that's my life. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, so, yeah, me and Nathalie, my girl, we were doing this. And
Yeah.
she's like, glosses
it was
right over
never
it.
a thing. She never explained herself,
Right.
really. She just kind of made
Did it, yeah.
statements or did
Wow.
things.
And I feel like I feel like the fact that she was so masculine presenting helped straight people make sense of it in their smooth brains.
Yeah, where they were like, well, at least she's the man.
Well, They were like, oh, well, she's super good at art, but she's like kind of like a guy, so that makes sense.
That's how they could accept her paintings, too.
Right, exactly.
They kept saying she paints like a man.
She paints like a man. She's a girl who wears pants, so that's the only reason she's a good painter.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
All right, we'll take it.
I mean, she was so groundbreaking. Like, it's cool.
Absolutely,
Also, she's so incredibly talented and good at what she does.
Insane.
That it's like...
It's undeniable.
It's undeniable. I think that they just had to make excuses.
They
for
had
why.
to so that was a pill that they had to swallow. And I love that she like subversively challenged the norms. Like she never changed herself to fit any mold.
Yeah.
Even though she was speaking in a visual language that was so very French.
She
She
was
was still her own.
Yeah, I think that's why I wanted to. That's why I brought up the hysterectomy thing too, because she did struggle with identity.
I relate to that a lot where, like, I definitely identify as a woman, and I'm, like, okay with that. And I was talking to Luke about this last night, actually, too. I was like, I feel connected to my womanhood, but I don't feel, like, adamant about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think having a period the way that I do and having these big, bodacious breasts that I do.
Bodilicious.
Bodacious, like, makes me so firmly aware of it.
Right.
That can be dysphoric. And I'm sure, like, based on what you said, like, that.
It's probably something she endured.
Yeah, because they don't have, the language to be like, yeah, no, I'm a woman, but, you know, I don't feel as connected to it as some other people might. But I don't feel disconnected from it. But, like, this makes me feel crazy because it's not something that I want.
That's not something that you can articulate or...
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Hard to explain, but she sounds really cool.
Her oeuvre. It's very, it
that
feels...
means, like, all of the stuff in somebody's... Everything they've made.
Like, all of her work. It's very, you know, like, she liked what she liked. Like, she did what she liked, and she got famous for that, which is really convenient.
Yeah, it aligned brilliantly. She was meant to be famous.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I thought she was a really cool
She's phenomenal.
person.
So talented.
This was so interesting. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
Asshole
this is
scale?
She cheated on her wife,
With an opera singer.
so I'm going to give her a 4.
A 4.
Strong 4.
30 years younger. GF.
Maybe a 5. No,
I'll say 4.
I can't give a woman higher than a 4.
Okay, wait, but if Caravaggio's a 10...
Okay, then she's
And
like
she's Diego
like a 2.
Rivera,
She's a 2.
I was going to say, like, 2.
2.
I
Yeah,
feel like
I
2.
forgot about
Like,
the
I
1
don't
to
think...
10.
I think her...
You know, we don't know what was going on inside their marriage. And they found their way back to one another.
They
did.
did. I'm sure... Okay, my thing is, like, her versus Norman Rockwell, I feel like they're probably around the
same, because it was just, like, minor moral... Well, minor. I mean, Norman Rockwell was doing the whole heteronormative shit, but it's also, like, the times, and he was getting paid for it.
Right, they
It's
were
always the
commissioning
times.
things.
It's always the times.
Yeah, it's always
you
the
know?
times. But you know what? I'll give her a 2. I'll give her a 2.
We have to give her a 2 for cheating on her wife.
For that.
For being sus.
For being sus
So
and lying.
sus. Lying,
to Nathalie.
fibbing, leaving Natalie to tend to the animals. Damn,
That's
that irks
crazy.
me, too.
And the tigers.
I would poison. If I was Natalie, oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for listening to the pod.
Thank you.
We're
Thank you,
Gilded
Miss
Eye
Mia.
Podcast everywhere. Love you guys.
Please
Love
mention
you.
me as French. We love it. Thank you.
Thank you so
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
Her father Raymond was
This painting
Hey, Eugenie.
Eugenie of France after Empress
Yeah.
Empress E.
as she pinned the cross to Rhoda's Rosa Bonheur died in Anna Klumpke's arms.
Why did you have to say that?
I have to say it again. I can't do her like that.
What an unattractive sentence.
Okay.
I'm gonna hold my breath.
I'm gonna say it over again.
Don't say your last name.
This one goes out to Anna Clumpy. Okay, I'm good.
Okay.